Our 2021 Star Vision PX2. We got this in February. We've been on quite a few trips now, including a big one which is about 7 weeks away. Quick rundown. We'll go through the outside first and I'll make a couple more. The jockey wheel is brilliant. This thing is absolutely worth every cent. Definitely get the upgraded, this jockey wheel if it's available. Handbrake, McHitch. It's a little bit tricky to use. It doesn't line up spot on all the time, but it's not too bad. Comes standard with a tap on the drawbar, really decent, works well. Definite inclusion. Looking on the front, a couple of mud flaps to stop the rocks coming up. And then on the front we've got a big storage box up front and a second lot of storage there, which is actually for the gas bottles. 2 9-kilo or 8.5 fit really nicely in there with the changeover switch. We did have a slight leak there in one of the washers behind the screw, but we replaced that and it's all good. Top hatch. The top hatch door, the first mod I did was to use the compressor there, the spring hinge, what would you call it now, to attempt to keep the door up. It's been a bit of a pain trying to hold this door up without something there, without the shocker on it. Fits plenty of gear in there, everything fits in quite nicely with the first aid kit, the poles, the annex floor, various things. Now, biggest issue with this door, not just really an issue on that first part, there's no side entrance to it, so you can't slide in really long things. Now, it comes as standard now with this, I guess, anti-rock material. The trouble is, every time it rains, it pours down the front, pours down this, and it ends up soaked. And then the water then pools in around here. It's set up so that it's actually on the right height so the water doesn't flow inside, but it is a pain when you open that after it's been wet to find water there. I think it's a common issue around a lot of them. I don't think it's something that can be very easily fixed. Moving on to the side, we've got the big fridge slide there, big cupboard for the fridge. We've got the door, and then we've got the kitchen area, and above that the awning. The awning is a wind out type. The fridge slide I'll get out in a moment and show you a couple of things with that. The door can't be opened when the lid's down because the awning and stuff comes over the top of it to seal. So if you want to pack it and things, you've got to actually put the lid up a little bit. Not that that's a big issue, because with the electric lift it goes up and down pretty easy. Okay, the fridge slide. Alright, you probably heard that, and you can see the water. When it rains, the water tends to run down, hits the grooves, runs down. Doesn't come inside the slide, but it actually stays inside the door. Haven't quite yet worked out how to stop that. What we might do is put a piece of channel across so the water diverts across. Fridge fits in there quite nicely. The first upgrade I would do if you're getting one of these is to make sure you get an Anderson plug and not just a 12-volt cigarette lighter. The Anderson plug wasn't fitted brilliantly on ours. Alright, fridge slide. The standard fridge that they supply with it is a pretty decent fridge. Got a fair bit in there. Can be split as it's fridge freezer, dual zone, quite large. I think it's about 80 litres. It's a pretty huge thing. More than did us for 3 of us for 6 weeks away, stopping to refill with food every couple of weeks. As you can just see by taking that out there, you can't fully open the lid, which is a bit of a pain, but you learn to work around it. I removed the handle off of the front and in doing so allows the fridge to sit further forward so the door can open a bit further. The fridge locks in. What I've done, you might be able to see in there, the area underneath the fridge is a pretty good little storage spot for stuff that you use around about the camp. We put the wash up buckets and stuff there as well. So it's got a filter on there. I'm not sure how much dust it would keep out if we got onto really dusty roads. We haven't quite got that far yet, but the fridge seemed to work reasonably well. The other issue you'll have to consider, see how the awning finishes there and the fridge is there. Depending on where you park and how, you'll have to put something else to stop the sun getting onto the fridge. So moving on from there, pretty decent wheels and tyres on it. Yeah, way better than what we've got on our Prado, and probably overkill. It's got the rock slides all the way around. You get a nice step, and they also give you the other single step, which, yeah, you basically need in a lot of cases because it's a bit too far to step straight up. One external 240 volt outlet there. There's a really nice light, blue light on the handle, but you can't turn that on just by itself. When you turn that on, it also comes on with the kitchen light. Moving further across before I go up into the kitchen. This is underneath the sink, and what we did was move some of the plumbing around a little bit so we could actually store pots and pans in there and my fishing rods. Very handy little storage area. Next area across is your kitchen slide. So prep bench, cutlery drawer, underneath that there's, I believe optional, the barbecue outlet, so you can hook on an external barbecue on top there. As you can see there, the legs, nice decent solid wind down legs, nice big pad at the bottom. They don't sink into the dirt too easily. Not that we need to do much around the back here, but there are 2 spare tyres. Probably overkill. You could probably get away with just one. And again, the latches, the awning's a wind out type. I'll get that out a little bit later and show you how that works. We've had a little bit of issues with it going back in and out a couple of times. Be very careful, and if it's windy, make sure you've got it pegged down or put it away. Okay, moving on to the fridge, the kitchen, sorry. There's a nice big light up on the door itself. The kitchen is inset. There are 3 lights, LED lights across the roof. We've put some orange foil, cellophane over them just to keep the bugs down. Seems to work. Comes with a stereo, FM only. Yeah, it doesn't pick up AM, and for us the antenna is sitting in the cupboard. Yes, not the greatest, but it seems to work. We've attached this additional area to store all the crockery. It comes with a couple of shelves that we've managed to put everything on. We've added a couple more hooks and things to put common stuff on there. You get 2 lots of 240 volt outlets here. One's from the inverter, which runs off the internal batteries, and the other is the 240, which comes from when you're plugged in to a powered site. Plus a couple of a 12 volt and a USB come 12 volt outlet. Down here we have the sink. We store the kettle in there. Very nice little sink, works quite well. The Thetford sink is really good. The kitchen, the other part we've got is our 3 burner. You'll have to excuse some of the messes here, the dust and bits and pieces. The wattle is dropping everywhere and it's tending to blow in a lot when we open it up. Alright, nice little 3 burner. we have had a bit of an issue with one of the tabs burning off, but we'll contact Thetford about that. 3 burner works well, it's piezo ignition, so you don't have to worry about having matches. Now, one of the issues we have, something that probably needs to be looked at, if you have a look there, see how the splashback is taking up 2 cupboards. If it could move across, either the cupboards moved or the sink moved, it would only take up 1 and it wouldn't be quite so bad. But what this means is the top cupboards are fine, you can open and get stuff out of those, but you can't get stuff out of the bottom cupboards whilst you're cooking. So you need to make sure you get everything that you need out before you start cooking. Now the cupboards themselves are quite deep, there's quite a lot of space in there, and what we've done is put some false floors to put extra stuff under the bottom. Okay, moving around the other side of the camper. First door. There's 2 jerry can holders, and what we did is opted for the optional for a diesel heater. Worth its weight in gold. While we were away, it got down to -4 one morning and it was beautiful and 22 degrees inside. At night it'd regularly get up to 24, 25 degrees without very long at all. The next door across, this one's a bit tricky to see. This is where we've just put our ramp and bits and pieces, but in there, that's the diesel heater, so that's optional. But in here, and the flaps come down, is sorry about that, I'll put that back on in a minute, is the air conditioner. The air conditioner has the pipes that run through. It takes up some of the area. When we look inside, this is under the seat. This is some storage area if you don't have the diesel heater, but as you can see with the air conditioning, which only runs off 240 when you're plugged in to a campsite, so it won't run off the batteries. So without the diesel heater, you don't have any heating in winter. Okay, next to that we got the option there for the hot water system. So what they've done is the water is plumbed in and there's an in and out outlet along with a gas fitting. They have an optional outside hot water unit. So you get the hot water unit, you put it next to it and then it plumbs it back in. Also on this end is your 240 volts in, so that's a 15 amp outlet. Remember that, you'll need a 15 amp cord and you'll need some sort of 15 amp outlet at home. So there's one of the fillers for the water. That's for the front water tank, which I think's 110 litres, not 100% sure. And the other fillers there, which I think is 120 litres. They do take a little while, put the hose into them, they do fill up all right, it's not too bad. People have reported some of them you've got to fill incredibly slow. We've not found a problem filling these up. The shower lives in there. It's a bit of a basic little shower, but it does work, so you'd maybe look at upgrading that at some stage. Looking back towards the front while we're out here, there's the window. That's the glass window that pushes open. It's got a drawer to come down, or it's got a sort of fly mesh as well for when you open it. So that's for around the seating, I guess you call it the cafe seating area inside. Lastly, on the outside here, we come to what we refer to as the coffin box. This is the external, the other side of the kitchen and underneath the bed. This large door here, they actually sell it with a mattress, so you can sleep in here. It comes with a light and a fan, but what we've done is taken the mattress out for my daughter to use separately in a tent, and we've got storage in it. On the roof, or on the back side of the door, this is your shower tent. It opens up, it's quite large, it fills up that whole area there onto the ground, and is more than large enough to have a toilet and shower in there. We have used it with both, it works quite well. What I have done is put a shelving unit in the back here, and basically it just connects up via, it's all a bit grotty at the moment, a couple of pieces I glued in that it basically just clips to stop it moving anywhere. This area, as you can see, is a mess, but it's quite large. Through the back end here is the door that leads through to the back of the seat and into the back of the camper. The other door here is just a small storage area. That's it there. It's quite a good little area. I used it to put in the things that I didn't use very often, like the 240 volt stuff, because we only stopped a couple of nights in a caravan park where we had power, and other bits and pieces that you may only occasionally use. Another mod I've done, as you can see there is a join there, and what I've done is actually cut the baseboard so that I can access the underneath when all this stuff is kitted in. Otherwise you've got to take everything out to get the baseboard out to get towards the batteries and the extra area there. Okay, down underneath this compartment is where you've got the battery management system. Very hard to get to. Yeah, as you can see, it's tucked in right back underneath. You can't get to it directly. The fusing and panel is all there. So the main circuit breakers are there, and where the inlet comes from the front, I've fitted an extra DC to DC converter, which I have upgraded the wiring to the front as well. But behind that sits 3 dirty great big 100 amp hour batteries. They seem to be pretty good. They lasted us pretty well. And as you can see down in here, there is room for some extra storage. The pump goes here, the water pump if you need to find it. The hot water system runs off there, the watering all runs there. You can see the filler, and we're in behind the wheel. Reasonably well laid out. Could be a little bit better. If you're happy to move things around, you could probably make a lot more storage in here if you wanted to try. I'm not sure if you can see it. In underneath here, behind the batteries, leads in underneath the kitchen area and behind the sink. That's also a big area. I've put a couple of things in for storage around there so that we can access things that you only use once in a while and you can get access to. So that's the outside. This will be the end of this one. I'll do another one on lifting the roof up, putting the awning out and showing you around inside. I hope this gives you a bit of an idea. Happy to answer any questions.